Yo, book nerds! I finished reading Persuasion by Jane Austen. This was so much fun. I just knew I was going to love it, and of course I did. This is the third Austen that I've read. I've also read Pride and Prejudice and Emma, but it has been a while, and so this was just such a treat to devour another one of her books. So far this year, the stuff that I've been reading has been pretty heavy and emotional content-wise, and so I needed to shake it up and have something not so heavy. And this was just exactly what I needed. Jane Austen's books are just like a walk in the sunshine. I love them. They make me feel so good, and they aren't super heavy content-wise. It honestly started a little slow, but I knew that it would pick up and that I would really enjoy it. I said to my boyfriend Taylor, once the content starts to pick up pace, I will not be able to put it down. And I was so right. I got like a third of the way through and then I just flew through the rest. I could not put it down. Basically, Anne was engaged to Frederick, and she was convinced by her friend Lady Russell not to marry Frederick because he wasn't considered good enough for her, because she has a title and he didn't, and she has money and he doesn't. That's kind of the beginning of the story. And then they end up back in each other's lives. And if you don't want any spoilers, skip ahead if you don't want to know anything at all about this book. Knowing Jane Austen, I was pretty sure going into this that Frederick and Anne would end up together. I just had no idea how they were going to get there. And all the twists and turns throughout this romance were just so great. I loved them. And the last, 50 pages of the book just had me on the edge of my seat. I could not put it down. I wanted to finish the book so bad one night, and I had 20 pages left, but I was so tired I could not do it, and I was so disappointed that I had to wait until the next day to read the last 20 pages. But you know, sometimes you just gotta go to sleep. And I just have to say, Lady Russell, at first I thought she was this conniving friend that just got in the way. But I have to say, by the end, I really love Lady Russell, and I really think that Lady Russell loves Anne and does really just want the best for her, even though she separated Anne from the love of her life. I feel like Lady Russell had good intentions, and so I like Lady Russell. And Anne is just so great. There are some characters in here that I just loved, like Charles Musgrove. I loved him. So Charles Musgrove is married to Mary, which is Anne's little sister, and Mary is super dramatic, and Charles just loves to poke fun at her all the time, and that was so entertaining, to be honest. And Mary will be dramatic and Charles just will feed into it just to get a rise out of her, and I love it. It is so funny. And overall, I love Frederick. At the beginning, he comes off as kind of cold towards Anne, but it's understandable because Anne rejected him. Anne called off their engagement. And so, I loved this book all around. Super, super enjoyed it. I think I still love Pride and Prejudice more. I know that's so cliche, everyone loves Pride and Prejudice the most, but I always will love Pride and Prejudice so much. It'll be really hard to beat. But I don't know which I enjoyed better, if I enjoyed Emma or Persuasion better. Honestly, I love all of Jane Austen's novels that I've read so far, so it's really hard to rank them. If you haven't read this, you really should. I just seriously can't rave about it enough. I don't read a ton of romance, and when I do, it's usually classic romances like this, and so this is just great. I just loved it. It was what I needed after reading stuff that was so heavy. I needed something that was fun, light, and had a happy ending. And the ending kind of reminds me, again, spoilers, so don't watch this if you don't want to know anything. But the ending kind of reminded me of some Shakespeare plays and some Oscar Wilde plays that I've read that are comedies that have happy endings, where at the end all of the people are paired off, and That's kind of what happens here. Not everyone ends up paired off, but it ends with a lot of couples together. And I remember there being a word for that. When I was in college, I learned a word for that, but I can't remember it right now. It's been a while since I was in school, but it was just nice to have like all these loose ends tied up. Everyone's happy, and it just is a feel-good book. It really was. I had decided to read this because I had put a poll on my Facebook page and had people vote on which book I should read, and this one won, and it did not disappoint. I was so glad that this was the book chosen for me to read next. It was so refreshing and exactly what I needed this time of year when it's still kind of winter, it's not really spring yet, and my seasonal depression is starting to get the better of me, and this just brightened my spirits a lot. Just seriously, I can't stop gushing about it. Can you tell? I really loved it. I cannot stop talking about it. But I will stop talking about it because I think I will just keep repeating myself if I keep going. If you read it, let me know what you thought in the comments and let's gush together. Or if you hated it, let me know why and we can talk. So, what am I reading now? Of course, I've started something already. It is middle grade March, so I decided to pick up some middle grade. I am reading Peter and the Starcatchers. I actually have already read this before, so this is a reread for me. It is the first in a series of 5 books. I have not read any of the other 4 books in the series, though, and it was so long ago when I read this. I actually read this when I was in middle school, and so I really want to read the others, and so it's been so long, I just need to reread this. I'm on chapter 6, and I already am glad to be rereading it because I forgot so much of it. So I'm rereading this for middle grade March, and then I want to go into the series and hopefully finish the series. Since it's middle grade, it shouldn't take me very long. And besides it being middle grade March, I picked this up because I just need something easy. Like I said, have been reading a lot of heavy things, and then I read Persuasion, which was a classic. So even though it wasn't emotionally taxing on me, the language did get hard at some points, and classics do make you think a little harder generally. And so I needed something that is really easy just to refresh myself. So I'm jumping into this series. If you've read this series, let me know what you thought. Don't give me any spoilers though, even for this, because it's been so long I really don't remember what happens. And I'm super excited to read it. I have always had this like love for pirates, the romanticized pirates. I know they're not accurate, but I love Pirates of the Caribbean and I love other pirate stories. And I'm just loving this already. I have read the original Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie, and this series is about Peter Pan, so I'm excited to see what twists they throw in. And I loved the original Peter Pan so much, and so this is just nostalgic. I feel like a kid on an adventure. So we've got the pirates, we've got Peter Pan, but this book is before Peter Pan became Peter Pan. It's about Peter and how he got magic and is able to fly, and where fairies and mermaids come from and Neverland comes from. This is like the origin story. It's just such a fun treat. I'm already enjoying it. So hopefully I will finish this up soon, and then I will post a video about this as well. That's all I've got for you guys today. Let me know what your thoughts are on Persuasion by Jane Austen, and let me know what your thoughts are on Peter and the Starcatchers, which is by Dave Barry and Ridley Pearson. And let me know if you guys are participating in middle grade March as well and what you're reading. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and also go like my Facebook page if you haven't done that either. I put out videos every Monday. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for talking books with me.